Thank you everyone for coming in. This is amazing to have you all here. This is Lightworks. We are EOTT, and as aforementioned, what we like to do is talk about mental health. We are creatives at heart. We like making things, and we use these things as our tools of conversation. We have fashion, we have videos, we have interviews, and we have events. You've heard me say this already, but I'll say it again for the record. This is Lightworks, and today in particular, we are alongside the champions, AudioActive as well, so please make some noise for them. Huge inspirations to us, and long before we even started, in terms of approaching well-being through creativity and empowering ourselves through music as a means of connection, as a means of community and as a means for well-being. They have always been a huge inspiration to us, and so it is truly an honor that we get to be alongside them today. So thank you. And speaking of a certain Mr. Tom Hines, who is an AudioActive legend in his own right as well, will be stepping up and joining us shortly. But first, we have Amy Whitehall-Sands, we have Tala, we have Jaebo. So to begin, we always like to start with how are you? How are you doing? What have you been saying?
Me? Yeah, I'm all right, I think. I think so, yeah, just a bit. I've got loads of stuff going on at the moment. I've got my best mate's wedding tomorrow, and I'm doing a speech, which just as nervous for that as I was for this performance, to be real. But yeah, apart from that, really good. Life is all right,
You got it, speak from the heart.
Hey!
Freestyle.
UKG. Things are all right. Yeah, I think so. Just a bit mad, a bit overwhelming, to be real with you. But it's just every day. Taking each day as it comes. That's.
Oh, nice one. You like the realness.
It's too much.
That's too much. Chill.
Well, might do a little pass over.
Yeah.
All right, Tala, what about you? How are you doing?
Yeah, I've been doing good. Grateful every day. Been doing a lot of uni work and working on music, trying to juggle in between, making sure that I do my best at uni and I do my best at making music, creating content, filming, marketing. So it's been a bit of a lot, but it revolves around things I enjoy. So I don't mind that ever. Yeah.
It's a challenging balance, isn't it?
It is. Sometimes you just neglect to check up on yourself. So there would be a day when you wake up and you feel a certain way and you don't know why, but you just go about your day, and then bit by bit it just stacks up a little bit. But once you get to sit with your thoughts, sit down and analyze how you feel, take a step back, that's when it becomes more balanced, I would say, definitely. But yeah, been good, grateful as always.
Oh, wicked. And what about you, Amy?
Yeah, I've been doing okay. Just been going a bit revision crazy with school, year 11, so last year, most important year, so not much to say. Very boring, just school crazy at the moment, but then still got vocalise on a Monday, which is great. Last bit of singing for the week, so it's good.
For those that don't know, what is vocalise?
Vocalise at AudioActive group, and we do check-in at the start of every session, which is great, because just talking about how you feel with people that also have the same interests as you, which is great. And then we sing, we write, we just get to know each other. And the age range is good as well, so you get to know a lot of people that are maybe people you wouldn't have met before.
Love that. That's what we're all about. Coming together, similar feelings, That's probably what's brought a lot of us all here today, to be fair. Feeling down in some weird way. But feeling strengthened because of that as well, And that's what we're here to do. And so, if you could tell us a little bit about what you do creatively and how that's good or even bad for your mind. Go ahead.
Well, AudioActive, like I said, I do singing and stuff there with the group, and then do one-on-one with Kate, which is great, and she's been really helpful with my songwriting, because I thought I was doing great just in my room by myself, and she made me realise maybe I did need a little bit of help, so constructive criticism, which is great. So yeah, that's me. Just writing, trying to juggle it with school as well. So yeah.
I'm in my final year at uni. I do music business, and it's been a bit stressful doing uni work, essays, trying to get a first each time, failing to get a first. But with that, this year I've been just like working on the marketing of my EP. Hasn't been released yet, but just trying to make sure I have enough content to push on social media. I know enough about marketing to push ads, and I have, like I said before, I have my release party gig, just stuff to like constantly think about. And with that in mind, I just been struggling with writing because I've been so focused on the business side of things. I feel like last year I was doing more the creative aspect, writing my EP, writing songs, and it was just like a big like wheel just like kept just going on, and then this year it kind of stopped. But I mean, it comes and goes, and I know that it will come back, so I'm not really stressed about it. Definitely not. But yeah, good things are coming, definitely.
Thank you, man. That sounds like a healthy perspective to have. Appreciate that. What about you, Jaebo?
What was the question? Was it to be, what is being creative to me?
What is your creative practice? What do you do? And how is that good for your mind?
Basically, yeah, like I write raps, I write music, and for me, that's kind of like the easiest way to communicate, to be honest with you. I mean, my girlfriend will tell you, I think I find it easier to get things across, like in a song, stuff that I don't even know I'm going through, do you know what I mean? And then I make this song, and then it's all coming out, and then it's a bit weird, like, hearing it. I just suck at communicating in general, so making a song about it is my way of communicating, basically, and it just, yeah, it's like a therapy at the end of the day. Music for me is therapy, writing for me is therapy. But yeah, that's what it means to me to be.
Yeah, it's necessary, I think, because it can be so troubling to get these things out, especially in the culture that we've grown up in, or, you know, or have been a part of. It's hard to express what's inside, you know. And so, yeah, maybe when there's a beat that helps us, that, you know, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
You know,
maybe it's a bit of a, you know, it's well known now, there's a bit of a stigma like being a man and being vulnerable and like expressing yourself. There's almost a way that you can like hide behind the instrumental in a way. I don't know.
It's just a song. It's just a song.
It's just a song. At the end of the day, you can kind of really like say as much as you want, as deep as you want to say it, and it's acceptable because it's in song format. Do you know what I mean? Whereas, like I said this on the radio review the other day, like even when I was sitting in a car with my best mate, and he asked me like how are things at the moment, I still had that little like instant where I was like, I can't tell you. I just like played it off as a joke. Do you know what I mean? Where it's like, if you want to know how I feel, listen to my song. Do you know what I mean? So yeah.
Yeah, I feel that certainly. I think there's certain things that maybe some of my closest friends only know about me because of like the verse I've written. You know, so I dig that. I feel that. And so there's maybe one aspect in which creativity can be helpful for our minds. Are there any aspects in which creativity can be challenging for your minds?
Yeah, sorry, I jumped right in again. But basically what Tala was saying about like the pressures of having to do all these things, like especially with the social media kind of culture that comes with being an artist nowadays, like keeping up with that stuff, not fun, really stressful, and it takes time away from actually making stuff. But I also think you have to have a healthy relationship with whatever art you're doing. You can't just you can hermit crab and just focus on your art and nothing else, but then your life outside of music or outside of art is just going to start declining. You have to be aware of everything that's going on and not shut yourself off, which I think is a risk if you're an artist, to be fair. You can just shut yourself off. I'm sure these guys can relate. But yeah, just the social media stuff nowadays, that's not good for you, I don't think, like, if you're an artist.
What about you, Stu? Any challenges with creativity for you?
I feel like imposter syndrome really comes in the way of creativity. So sometimes you would hear a song and be like, oh, it's so good, I wish I wrote it. And then you go back, you try to write something like it. And obviously, because you're not that person, so obviously you're not going to write that song. And then you feel discouraged and you feel like you're not good enough or you're not worthy enough. That's when it gets in the way. So once I started being more aware of that, I realized that instead of being, oh, I need to be like this, I just realized, what can I do myself? What can I bring to the table that will make me stand out, rather than, oh, this is so good, what can I take from it and make it like mine for me, rather than like, no, what can I make personally from zero? What can I bring to the table and what they can take from me, you know? So it took a lot of songs in the way to be aware of that, but I mean, and I still struggle like today, like not comparing myself to other artists, because this industry is so saturated, especially in Brighton as well. I've realized that I've had so much imposter syndrome, because back home, I'm the only girl who sings in English, so like I'm so like hyped up back home, which is crazy that I came here and everybody else does that. So it took a lot for me to like be aware of that and be mindful. But yeah.
Feel that. We've got some good clips there going as well. That's like the equivalent of like a reload, isn't it? You know what I mean? Like a poetry version. And what about you? What challenges do you face with creativity?
I think what we were all kind of saying about when you're writing songs, you can go as deep as you want and say what you want. And it somewhat feels easy because you're writing a song. I also sometimes find that challenging, and I'll maybe write a lyric and then think, oh no, that's too much, maybe I should change it. And then I think, no, this is for me, I'll write how I want. But then sometimes it feels a bit challenging to then show that to other people. Like when I sung at the Dome in the Corn Exchange for International Women's Day, I sung a song that I wrote by myself in my bedroom, and I thought, yeah, no one's ever going to hear this, it'll be fine. And then I found that kind of challenging to then sing it to loads of people, but then afterwards you feel so much better about it, so then it's kind of a good thing in the end.
It's expression, you know, isn't it? It's like a part of us, and that's what can make it really difficult. You know, there's actually certain things that I may have made or that I'm still not ready to show to someone, you know, because it really is a part of you, and it can hurt. And sometimes as well, I find I can go into places that are like kind of like therapy. Like when you have like a focused moment on thinking about this thing, it can be really sad because, you know, we don't dive into it because it hurts. So I hear you, basically. I hear you.
I can really relate to that as well. Like when I first started, I was
When I first started making music, I wore a mask because I was saying all this stuff that was really personal to me. And I just wasn't ready for people to hear it, for people to know who I was. So I had this mask that I wore. It was the shit mask, but it was, just so relatable what you just said. Like, and then suddenly you're standing in this room of like however many people, and you're performing that song to people. It's just it's really strange, really strange.
Yeah. But it's strengthening as well, you know?
Oh yeah, definitely, yeah. Like once you've got up and done it, you've done it. You've said what you had to say, stuff that you thought you would only say to yourself, you've got it out in the world, and it went all right. Do you know what I mean? No one threw a tomato at you, so it's all good.
Yeah, that old classic.
Maybe next time.
I feel it. Well, the next question, I have one more about creativity. It's just about maybe the creative environment, our own creative environments we place on ourselves, but what's something for you that makes creativity easier or more challenging?
If I write with others, it needs to be a specific type of person. Like, we need to have a sort of connection before I write with you. I haven't gotten to that point where I can be in a room with anybody and be vulnerable with anybody. So we need to have that connection before. And that's something that helps with my creativity. But I've learned for myself, my creativity comes when I'm by myself in my room at dark, lights off, everyone's asleep. She's my housemate, so can you hear me when I?
Yeah, but you also hear me, so it's okay.
Yeah, I do. But definitely when I'm in my room by myself. But yeah.
So caving a little bit.
Yes, that's the best way.
Feel that.
Because no one can judge you and be like, oh no, don't write that. That doesn't rhyme. No, no one can judge you. So yeah.
I love Vocalize as a creative environment, 100%. Because the other day, well, on Monday, we came up with an idea and a theme, and then Kate was on the keyboard just playing some chords, and then we were all there writing, and even just the humming, all of us humming our own melodies as we were writing, it was just great. And then it was just so nice just to see what we all came up with afterwards. So obviously we all came up with stuff that was completely different but all similar, and it's nice to see the way that everyone else thinks and stuff like that. And that environment is so nice to be in, and writing and even just chatting, I think. And then all of us singing together and it all coming together at the end is just such a nice thing to be a part of.
So like the communal aspect of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And I think AudioActive is amazing for that. And the weekly sessions that are provided by AudioActive across the county to help build that and begin the building blocks and the momentum, that can really be fueled by other people in the room, I believe. And as affirmed by Miss Amy Whitehall-Sands here as well. And so speaking of community, what do you think is the importance of communal spaces and like communal musical organisations? How have these been important to you?
Yeah, well, I can only speak about my direct experience, like particularly with AudioActive. It started, I went to the Room to Rant sessions, and I wasn't like, my intention was never to just, get up on stage and start actually performing my music. I'd never performed my music before, but started going to these Room to Rant sessions, and they instilled a confidence in me that I thought I'd never would have. Do you know what I mean? I thought this was just my thing that I'm going to do on my own, in my room in the dark, that sort of thing. And they've literally put me on stages everywhere, like all around the southeast. Like, it's just going to keep growing and growing. But yeah, so like that community for me has changed my trajectory in life. I feel like a broken record talking about it, but literally my trajectory in life has changed. Thanks to AudioActive, genuinely. Yeah.
Really? Shouts to AudioActive, man. Big time. Every time. And what about you, Tala? Have you been involved in the AudioActive sessions?
Yeah, definitely. Not as long as Jaebo here, but I've joined the Emerge program. I joined around like November. And one thing I do have to say that I feel about this community is that it's not a competition. We're all in the same boat. And I've just noticed that we push each other, even though some of us are not doing the same kind of thing. Like Jaebo's a rapper, I'm more of a singer-songwriter. We do have a sense of hearing each other out, giving each other feedback. Something I would also say is Hatter, the mentor, the one who's running Emerge, he cares. He genuinely cares. Not just once we're in the room, even outside, I would message him for something, and he cares. He genuinely cares. He gave me opportunities outside of AudioActive just because he saw something in me. So it's really validating to have someone like that who's also doing music. So he understands the struggles. He understands what it means to have someone like that with more experience than me giving me opportunities like that, or giving me a good word or good feedback. So the fact that he's on it is really validating and something I did not know that I needed. So I'm really grateful for that. Yeah, definitely. Shout out to Hatter.
Big reload.
Yeah, big shout out to Hatter. For those that don't know, he is one of the session leaders at AudioActive. And this nicely transitions into our next section, as we have the legend Tom Hines, who's about to take the stage here a little bit, talk about AudioActive. I'll pass you the mic. So, Tom Hines is about to tell us a little bit about what he does at AudioActive. So yeah, please tell us, what is your role at AudioActive, and how do you find it to be beneficial for the youth and the culture?
Jeez, man. I don't really know where to start because I've been working for AudioActive for 20 odd years. I was a rap teacher in the early days, and then joined the office, and now I manage all of the Brighton and East Sussex projects, including Groups Around and Vocalise and kind of emerge actually. I tell you what, Hat won't back me telling you. I was his mentor when he was 13. That's how long I've been doing it. Do you mean? Oh, he told you? Oh, he doesn't know me like 10? Oh my gosh. Right, he rates you then. He's telling you. So yeah, I mean, it's been a long journey for me, and amazing to have that longevity to watch everyone's growth from young people that are just poke their head in a session to becoming fairly big artists. It's been pretty mad. We've had young people in the top 10. So that's pretty mental.
Yeah.
And also like just on a more personal level, I think it's just that longevity of knowing people have done really well behind the scenes in the music industry, or just they're involved in publishing, or music lawyers, or they're producers, or sound engineers for big theatre productions and stuff, and they're still successes even though they're not household names. And I think that's something that gets overlooked a bit sometimes of like success. And they're smashing, actually, making a lot more money than me. But also I think just it's been wonderful watching the project grow from like youth club based things and all the rest of it to like it's huge at the moment. Everything's growing, and it's fantastic to see. On a mental health level, like we specialise in some projects like Jaebo was involved in, which is a wonderful thing. It's kind of on a hiatus at the moment, just waiting for funding. So if any funders out there want to throw some money our way, any rich people do that. And Vocalise again, but also the one-to-one mentoring you mentioned as well. I think it's embedded throughout our projects is mental health. Do you know what I mean? It's the community and the wellbeing. It's so important. Actually, I'm going to go a bit off piece. Actually,
Please.
because I lost a friend in the hip hop community this week. Actually, but the community is so deep that we're all in constant contact, even from 20, 30 years ago. Do you know what I mean? That everyone's been communicating this week, and I think on that level of mental health and stuff, like there's that protective element of if you're part of the scene, if you're part of the community, it doesn't just stop. And I mean that as a mentor who knows young people. We did a show here on Friday, and like my friends' kids were playing. Do you know what I mean? Like, they don't know that I want to put them to bed, but I'll keep it quiet. Do you know what I mean? It's just like that. But like, no, I think that actual, when you know people, and it's really important. I say to young people, I just say that. You don't forget people. Do you know what I mean? If you bump into them forever, even if it's just been an audience member or on stage together or on a technical level and stuff like that. And I think that so when we're talking about mental health, I think you can have surprising connections all over the place and that come back and are beneficial to you. So that was quite a long-winded answer, wasn't it?
Well, we love it. Thank you.
Well, you might have asked it a little bit already, to be fair, but you spoke of the sort of the communal benefit and the cultural benefit in some sense, but I'm curious to know how, helping other people is helpful for you. Like, what mental health benefits have you had from being part of AudioActive?
Oh, that's a hard question, man. And I think it's a misunderstood thing. I think when I talk about what I do and what we do, people go, "That must be rewarding," and it is, and it's wonderful, and it's all the things I just mentioned are wonderful to see. But on the flip side of it, there's the opposite of that. Do you know what I mean? And so I recently bumped into a homeless person I used to work with, and there's been a lot of deaths as well. I'm not gonna, for various reasons, and they're all not very nice things. And I've been to a lot of funerals as well. So it is rewarding, but you also sometimes, just wondering for those people who fell through the cracks, whatever happened to them and stuff. Do you know what I mean? So we've had people who've hit stardom and become household names. But I wouldn't say that's the most rewarding bit. Do you know what I mean? I wouldn't really genuinely wouldn't. I would say the rewarding bit is people working for us now, and other people doing the music leader training. That's just amazing. That's a legacy. Do you know what I mean? Just of the approach, not necessarily the actual sessions themselves, but just that each one teach one, which is a very old school hip hop thing for me to say. But it's that it's important. I think instilling that means that there's going to be more people who come up, and then we'll go on perpetually, theoretically.
Love that. Thank you. Watering the plants, in the garden, and keeping that forest growing and beautiful. And I have one more question for the group before, if anyone's eager to ask a question. I know we've got one person particularly eager. But the last question is a little bit kind of inspired by what you just said, but, are there any particular challenges that you faced, and what was it that helped you overcome them? And answer as much or as little as you like.
We're talking about mental health, or just
mental challenges, creative challenges, and what has helped you navigate or get through them?
I'll start with the one that's a bit more PC. But so about 2.5 years ago, I quit drinking alcohol, and appreciate it. And it was at the time of my life. I'm 25 years old now, so it's like the time of our life where everybody's drinking, and it's ingrained in the culture. It's what we do. I mean, we're in a pub right now. Do you know what I mean? It's just what we do. And it happened. I was there. I did it on my own for about 1.5 years, I think, or something like that. No, look, I don't know how long it was, but I was doing it on my own. And to be honest with you, I was really struggling with it, just keeping up with it. But AudioActive, it was at the same time I started going to the Room to Rant sessions, and AudioActive noticed that, and we spoke about it. They gave me counselling through Katie, who was at the sessions, and the counselling really helped kind of, again, build that natural confidence. I relied on alcohol so much for any form of confidence. Even doing something like this sober, I wouldn't have done this. Do you know what I mean? I wouldn't have been getting up here. But to be honest with you, it was just support from people around me, not just Katie, like my family as well, Fliss, everybody. So just. That's the one that I can talk about openly. Do you know what I mean? Thank you.
Love that.
For me, it would be a challenge I'm still going through, which is trying to prove to my family that there is a good reason why I'm here and why music is the right thing for me to do and pursue. Because where I come from, music is not necessarily what you do to get an income. You're either a doctor, a teacher, a dentist, a lawyer. You have those 4 options, and that's it. So at first they let me do music in school as a hobby. The family was like, get your guitar, oh, you're writing songs, that's cool. But once I graduated and told them, okay, I want to study music, I want to go to Brighton, and there's a good music institute called BIM, they were like, no, you're gonna be here, you're gonna follow your sisters, you're gonna be either a nurse or like a doctor. I was like, that's not my thing. So they thought I would cave in, but I ended up taking 3 gap years. Just working, saving money, and applying for the visa myself, doing the exams myself, until one day I came up to my dad and was like, hey, so the visa is done now. I passed the test. All I gotta do now is fly. So are you gonna support me or what? And then he was like, okay. So I got my dad on board. So that's the good thing. That's the most important thing. But then you have my extended family, which struggles a bit with the fact that I do music. So before, it was something very difficult for me to like try and not let that get into me and get me discouraged. But now I just laugh it off with them, and the more I'm persistent, just like nothing's gonna change. Like I'm just gonna stay here, That's one thing. And then the second thing, mental health. Back home, we don't have a language for that. So my childhood wasn't the most easy childhood, but I didn't have, it was kind of normal because no one was talking about the things we would go through. So I wouldn't talk about anything that I would go through, or like speak up my emotions. And then something very tragic happened back in my childhood. And my coping mechanism was just not speaking, not talking to anyone about it, pretending that it never happened. Never went to therapy until I got here to Brighton. When I was like, oh, people go to therapy here, like that's a normal thing. You don't have to be crazy to go to therapy, because genuinely that's what people back home think. Like, oh, you go to therapy, like what? My dad doesn't believe in therapy, so he doesn't know that I've been to therapy as well. And he's a doctor, so it tells you a lot. But definitely something here. That's why I feel like I need to stay here, because I'm around more like-minded people, and I feel like I've made this place my home. So I would say I'm very grateful for these challenges, because these challenges really taught me a lot. So definitely grateful for that. They're not a challenge anymore. But yeah. Thank you.
I think for me, it would be just being able to talk about things more. Like when I've been with my one-on-one sessions with Kate, we were having a conversation the other day on Monday, and she was just talking to me because I was a bit scared about this, to be honest. And she was like, Amy, you'll be fine, you can talk and talk and talk. And then she was talking to me about just like the journey she's seen me go on, because I've been working with her since I was in year 8. And she was like, you've come so far, and she's helped me so much, especially when I first got referred and started working with her. It was definitely a period of time where a lot of people around me, my friends, people in my year group, started going through that phase where you start going down a bit of a bad path, and it's kind of a long road that you don't really stop once you start going down. And yeah, she definitely stopped me going down that, showed me the better route, and helped me a lot with that. So that was definitely a challenge that music definitely helped with, and just being able to talk about things more and stuff like that.
Beautiful. I mean, obviously I'm from a slightly different generation, in lots of different ways, musically and kind of other ways. But when I started rapping, obviously there wasn't many rappers in this country, and it was seen as a very stupid thing to do. So no one really supported me at all. Like no one. But me and my mates rapped together, and we got like a little bit of reputation with our friends. But I just had no confidence. And when you mentioned earlier imposter syndrome, I was just like, that is the main one. I mean, I was like, why am I still doing this? Do you mean no one believes in me? Do you mean it's pretty difficult? I still get it. I definitely still get it. So I'm sorry, it doesn't go away, I'm afraid. It doesn't go away. But, so I'm a freestyler, just to explain. So I'm a bit different again to a lot of musicians because they can filter their raps to say exactly what they want to project to the world. And mine's limited on whatever stimulus is in the room and whatever I'm feeling at that moment. So it wasn't until I moved away, and me and Jaebo have been talking about this, so I'm trying to remember what I said to you, actually, because it seemed to be the perfect thing for this answer. As well as, I went away to be an artist in the middle of Cornwall, that I started to actually get respected, and everyone going, it's amazing, please do more shows. And I'm like, what? I just quit, do you know what I mean? I just moved here to be an artist. So for me, like, freestyling became a thing that was really therapeutic and really good, but also not really music. So there's a flip side of it where where the imposter syndrome used to come in all the time, and I just wanted to be the best rapper on stage, best rapper in the room. I didn't really care about making songs. And then I used to run shows for other people who needed to be encouraged to get on stage and all the rest of it. And that was all good. That kind of satisfied that itch. But when I got to like my sort of late 30s, I was like, oh God, I haven't made any bloody music. Do you know what I mean, man? And they started to be like, so again, beware that's coming up as well. But I've been producing for a long time, and you know what? I'm going to change a little because I had a really lovely moment with my son's 8 years old, and I had to choose some music to play, and we were doing Lego the other day. And this is sick. And I couldn't play half the rappers that I know, or for the obvious reasons. But I thought of a good friend of mine, I'm not going to say his name because it's work in progress. And we listened to it for a while, and he goes, I really like this guy, he's amazing, I like that song, I like this song. And I was going, you met him before, he stayed here a few weeks ago. And he was going, you should do an album. And I was like, yeah, all right. And he goes, text him now. So I did. 8 tracks deep. Do you know what I mean? It's not even very long. But the reason I'm telling you that is because of the imposter syndrome. I didn't even see the wood for the trees of the most obvious person that I used to be in a crew with and used to perform with all over the country. Do you know what I mean? Making all these beats, going, I don't know who to send them to. It's so weird that your brain can fog you over like that, and not make you see the most obvious thing that's just literally right in front of you. And obviously, I've worked with so many rappers for the night I used to run, and from workshops and stuff. It's quite hard to pick people to work with as a producer. But I also want to mention producing, because we talked about performing and rapping and vocals and stuff, but one of the reasons I didn't send any beats out to anyone is because production is the most therapeutic thing in the world, and I would recommend it to people. It's the only time I don't think about anything at all. I'm just instinctively changing some settings, doing some stuff. My brain isn't actually thinking of anything at all. But when I write raps, I think of words, and then I start thinking about other stuff. When I draw, I think of words and think about other stuff. But making beats, I don't. I'm just completely zen. So I recommend it to everyone. And then I snap out and I go, right. So yeah, just to say, mental health wise, good tip.
Beat making. Let's end on that. That was beautiful. Thank you very much. Wow, we're about to open up to the floor. Does anyone have any questions? We've got a question over here.
We can hear it from there.
Yeah, we can hear you.
We can hear you.
For our question, I just want to say, big ups for you because you have just been so authentic and vulnerable, and it's actually really touched me. So thank you very much. My question for all of you is, this is quite like a classic interview question, so I like it. What is the worst piece of advice you've ever heard, and what is the best piece of advice you've ever heard? That's my question.
Worst advice that I've ever heard was from my guitar teacher when I was 17. He basically told me to not pursue music, which, yeah, he said, hey, look at me. I tried to pursue music and that didn't work. What makes you think that it will work for you? I was like, bruh, okay, see you never, you know? And it did a bit like stung a bit because it's someone that, you know, your teacher, you admire them in a way. They're supposed to teach you stuff, not discourage you. But obviously here I am, so.
Not that teacher, man.
Not that teacher. And best advice that I've ever got, I would say keep writing. Even when the song is definitely like shit. Sorry for the French, but like keep writing, because like writing is like a clogged tap. And when you open the tap that's clogged, a bit of mud comes out. And the more that you keep it open, mud comes out. And there's like clear, beautiful water that's just like comes out and you can drink from. So yeah, so that was a good advice for me, definitely. Yeah.
Mine are like totally not music related at all, but like the worst piece of advice I got when I was younger, I moved to a different town and I had the option to move to a different school. And the head teacher said to me from the school I was already at, he said, don't move to that school because you'll be a small fish in a big pond. And I was like, all right, well, maybe I won't. But I ended up moving. And yeah, like it just became my favourite place, basically. That school is where my life started to happen, do you know what I mean? But that kind of does apply to other areas of your life. If someone's saying this is a bit meta, but like, if you're not good enough, you're going to be a small fish in a big pond. You're going to get lost. Fuck it, give it a go. You'll never know unless you actually go there and try it out. Do you know what I mean? But that was the worst piece of advice I ever got. I would say the best piece of advice I ever got, and this again is not music related, but when I was younger, there's a shop in Horsham that have one of those little toys that has like the steps. They go like this, with like wheels on the side. Do you know what I'm talking about? You have to like pedal to move forward, and I couldn't do it to save my life. This is so not music related, but couldn't do it to save my life. And I was actually with my dad in the shop, and he said, "Don't look at your feet, look at where you're going." And I instantly looked up, and I started doing it just like easy, and that was it. Best piece of advice I ever got. Yeah.
I think my worst piece of advice would be from my drama teacher. Because as much as I love music, I love drama. That's definitely something that I want to carry on doing as well. And I love my drama teacher. She's great. We have a great relationship. And it's kind of what you were saying about how you respect your teachers and, want to believe that they're right. And basically I wanted to apply for musical theatre at college at BM1 Arts. And she said, don't do that. It's rubbish. And I know musical theatre can get a bit annoying. All the singing and dancing, all right, can be annoying. But she was like, you won't get in and you won't like it. And I just didn't listen to her. I applied to it and I went to the open day and I did get in and I loved it. So I think just if I did listen to that bad advice, then I would have known that I would have loved it. And then they've also got a great music department as well, so I can still do music there, which will be good. And then best piece of advice was probably something that my dad always used to say to me when I was little. When you get all like your art stuff out and you've got like a big art set, loads of glue, loads of paints and whatever. And I was quite young and we were doing loads of just drawing and painting. And I remember like I'd always go, I don't like it, I want to start again. And he'd always say, with art, you can never go wrong and you can never be wrong. And now I kind of use that, not when I'm cutting and sticking things. I use it everywhere now. When I'm writing music, it can never be wrong. In art, at school, it can never be wrong. And that's just something I always have in the back of my brain that I carry with me.
Okay, we're just a little bit wary of time, so keep it moving a little bit. But
Can I get a quick answer from Tom? Sorry.
as you asked, sorry, Tom.
I forgot what the bad bit of advice was, but I'll give you the good bit because that's the important part, isn't it? But it's a bit of an adage, but it's so true. It's just be careful how you treat people on the way up, because you meet them again on the way back down. And I've known that from the bad side of it, where I've messed up by being a bit of a knob with certain company, and then it's affected me. But then I've also been in situations where I've been a gatekeeper, and I'm like, yeah. Do you know what I mean? So just keep everything pleasant and civil, because you'd be surprised how many times you bump into people over and over again. That's my advice. That's my good advice.
I have a question.
My question to all three of you is, when you were talking about the bad advice, I think like one pattern that I was noticing a lot was when you were talking about the people in which you respected literally giving you the worst advice. And my question to you is, how important do you think is authenticity to your artistry? And I'm going to break this question down like this: like, how important do you think it is to stay true to yourself, even when those you have good relationships like with, whether it be family, elders, OGs, or whatever, try to discourage you from the very dream that you're trying to go for? Like, do you feel like it's important to literally like move in silence and literally like ignore that bit of bad advice, or is it a thing where it seeps into your belief system, and once it seeps in there, is it a thing where you gotta like work hard to like get it out, or do you acknowledge it and still believe in yourself as an act of powerful defiance? So that's my question.
I would say at the end of the day, you go to sleep in your own, it's you going to sleep in your own bed, you waking up to your own life every single day. So I'd rather do something that I enjoy every single day rather than listen to someone who's not living my life. So he might have said something and forgot about it, not knowing that every day, because I listen to him, I do something I do not enjoy. And every day I wonder what could have been, should have been, would have been if I had continued. So I'd rather live with the uncertainty of things and like live in the unknown and create the unknown and make it the thing that I want it to be, rather than live in regret. So I would even give that to you as an advice. What was the first question?
So my question was actually about how important it was to
authenticity.
Literally just like remain authentic to yourself, even when those that you get along with or have good relationships with will try and discourage you, either because they literally are scared for you, or what you were saying about someone that you really look up to, like a guitar teacher, for example, literally like telling you, which is ironic that they're teaching you guitar and it's a part of being in the music industry, but they're trying to discourage you from being in it to begin with. So
yeah. So basically, what I said is, I'd rather live in the unknown rather than live in regret. So definitely that.
Just a quick one on the question of authenticity. At the end of the day, like you were saying, the analogy of you're going to bed every night in your own body. If you're making something like a song that you know isn't really your song, or like you're just trying to be something else, you'll know at the end of the day if that's not you, and you're the one that has to listen to that song for years to come. I'm definitely guilty of this. I've written songs where it's like, I don't think that came from a real place. I think it's a bit of a learning process, but I think if you just know that from the beginning, make something that's true to you, because you won't regret it. Whereas if you make something that isn't true to you, you will regret it.
Yeah,
not much to say apart from that when someone tells me not to do something, I think it makes me want to do it more.
I I'm just remembering things I used to say in rap workshops back in the day, but this is a really important one that you've probably heard before, but you regret what you don't do so much more than what you do. It's really important. You very do, yeah. No, but it's, it's, you generally, people get so worried about doing something, but that's not what their regrets are for. They're for the one they didn't do. And I think I can say that with old age. But yeah, I think please listen to that. That's an important one.
Thank you. And thank you, Tom, Amy, Tala, Jaebo, for taking us home. That was beautiful. Unfortunately, that is all we have time for today. Thank you so much for your questions as well. I'd love to sit here all night and hear more about mental health. But sometimes, how's mine? Mine's pretty good, man. I feel like I'm on a good run. The sun definitely helps. The blue skies definitely help. And also, kind of just with what you just said, I think I was very nervous about today. It's very challenging doing these events, and it's scary. But despite that, we did it anyway, and we tried, and we're here. So thank you for everyone for coming. This has been Lightworks.
Give it to Levy. Make some noise for Levy as well, please.
Thank you, man. Thank you all of you. Thank you all for coming. This has been Lightworks. And yeah, we hope that at the least of it, just some of what we've spoken about today gets your brain whirring. And maybe you ask your own selves and your own friends if they're okay. And that's what we're about. EOTT, baby.
Some noise for the panel, please.
Thanks. Cheers.